Okay, Michael and I went up to Canada when he was about 12 years old, and it was the canoe trip from hell. It was a really rough time. I learned about this camping trip through Michael's scout troop, and it was only going to cost $60, so we thought, goodness, how in the world would we ever get a chance to go to a foreign country for $60 again? So we were very excited about it. I can't remember any meetings ahead of our going up to prepare us for it, to get things ready. It was like some group got together and decided all the things, and we were each given a round, kind of like olive drab army barrel that we would pack things into that we wanted to take on the trip. And we were lucky enough to pack in some carnation bars, because if we hadn't had those, we would have just had crackers and fish through the whole trip. But the thing that I remember most on this trip was how sore my shoulders were from pulling on the paddle to the canoe that we were in. Michael and I were paddling this canoe, it seemed like for hours. The leadership had chosen out too large of pieces of geography to transverse each day, so that I was really sore, and every time I pulled the paddle back, my shoulders were sore, and I just had to keep on going. And we were always about last in the group, because I didn't know how to paddle a canoe. I'd never done this before, and did a lot of wasted motion. After a few days, one guy tried to teach me a little bit more, and I guess we were a little smoother and accomplished after that. But I was the tenderfoot of the group, the city boy, who didn't really know what living off the land and being out in the wilderness was like. I can remember we took the vehicles up to Canada, and we followed this one road all the way to the end. If you get a good map of Canada, you can see roads that just end as they go up from the United States into Canada. Well, it was one of those roads that we went on. And I guess the second thing I remember most was something that I did that kind of turned some attitudes around. Because I was the tenderfoot of the group, they were teasing and razzing me and giving Michael a rough time because I was so inept at doing certain things. So one day Michael and I are out there paddling and can barely see ahead where the people are that are ahead of us, and it starts raining, and it starts coming down rather hard, and we're cold and wet, and we're in a canoe, and we're headed for a place where we're going to ford over a piece of land to get away from a waterfall and some other long way around by water. So we finally get on the land, and everybody is just soaked. And finally I say, I'm going to build a fire. And some guys say, that's stupid. You can't build a fire with this wet wood out here. That's just another crazy idea, a city boy idea. So I just don't pay attention to them. I just go over and get some branches that had fallen down and didn't have any leaves on them. And I start taking my axe that I had brought along and shaving off the bark and a little bit of the wood. And after you get into the wood, less than a 1/16 or an 1/8 of an inch, you got dry wood. It's only wet on the outside. It's not soaked all through this wood. So I kept on getting dry wood this way until we finally had enough to start a fire. And after the fire started going, well, then you could take branches that were wet and throw it on, and the fire would dry them off enough. You'd hear a lot of crackles and sparkings and things, but the fire would dry them off so that they could be fuel for the fire. And after that, I guess I was kind of a hero among the boys, because I had given them a place to dry off and get warm, because we were all pretty miserable, and it felt real good being around that fire and feeling the heat and the warmth from it. And I guess it kind of warmed up the group too. And I was glad that I could make that kind of a contribution on a bad and rough day that had everybody feeling really down. The fire lifted our spirits and made us feel a little better.